heard space was going to be a topic of conversation, I couldn't help but try to be part of every single piece of this. So it's the Omar Show for a second here. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I am so excited for this panel, and I'll introduce our team here on stage in a second. Doing the moderating and the awesome questionnaire is Simon Levine. He is the CEO of the Southeast Region U.S. Private Bank for J.P. Morgan. Based in Miami, Mr. Levine leads a team of professionals that provide wealth management advice and strategies and services to individuals, family offices, foundations, endowments, and across the Southeast region. I got a chance to meet Simon backstage, and we couldn't stop talking about what's next in the space race with nuclear energy, with artificial intelligence, and I'm so excited for him to be interviewing one of his good friends for many years, and also one of my good friends for many years, Mr. Kam Ghaffarian. Kam is the founder and executive chairman of X Energy, Axiom Space, Intuitive Machines, and Quantum Space. Kam, to me, is one of our generation's most efficient and prolific capital allocators, one of the people with the largest, most boldest ideals and missions to taking humanity off of our beautiful cradle we call Earth and out into the stars. Just for reference, he works with a company that is revolutionizing nuclear energy. He has the company that also landed the first private mission on the lunar surface. And single-handedly, Axiom Space is building spacesuits for the next lunar missions, space stations for our next era of human presence in low Earth orbit, and Axiom is responsible for placing 16 humans in outer space in private missions. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming Kam and Simon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. Kam, I know we have about a half an hour together, so as opposed to doing any more introductions, I want to get right into it, but I'm excited to be here on stage with you. So you've founded many multiple groundbreaking ventures, as we heard a little bit about, starting with Stinger Ghaffarian Technologies to Axiom to X Energy. Maybe you could talk to the group a little bit about what are the core entrepreneur principles that have guided you across such diverse industries?
Thank you. You all can hear me okay? Great. So, after I sold my first company, I was thinking about opening my family office. And I wanted the family office to represent the principles. So my family office called IBX. IBX stands for Imagine, Believe, Execute. So imagine a certain future, be purpose-driven, mission-driven. Believe in it, which I think is the magic ingredient to creating success, and get off your butt and do it. Execute, deliver, right? So those are the key principles. But at the same time, hiring good people, much smarter than yourself, I think is another really good thing, and allow them to go and make things happen. I think those are key principles.
Well, it's seemingly working well for you for a slew of companies, so congratulations, of course. Maybe for the audience, we could take a step back. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about each company. And I know you have your portfolio of companies is quite extensive, and I know one of them had a very big announcement, which I know a lot about in the news today, and maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, let's start with that. In 2009, I founded X Energy with the idea of building the next generation nuclear reactors. The founding principles behind this company when I founded was 4 things. Clean, safe, secure, affordable. CSSA. Nuclear reactors that are 100% clean, no emission of any sort. Nuclear reactors that are 100% safe. And when I say 100% safe, I don't mean by some electronic intervention, but they are inherently safe. So there is no way in the world they can ever go supercritical. If there is a plane crashes into it, if there is a tsunami, no matter what catastrophic situation, they're 100% safe. And they're secure, so they cannot be exploited by bad actors. And they're affordable, so we can compete with natural gas. And I'm here to tell you that we've accomplished that mission. The name of the company is X Energy. Within the last 9 months, we've raised $1.4 billion. We are the world leader in SMR, small modular reactors. As I'm sitting here today, we have 11 gigawatt of backlog, signed backlog, that we need to deliver. That includes 140 units reactor. That's the largest in the world. We signed the largest nuclear deal in the United States for SMRs with Amazon AWS to power all their AI data centers. They were the lead investor on our previous round, not the one that we announced today. And we also signed the largest nuclear deal in UK with a company called Centrica and UK government, as well as our first plant we're building for Dow Chemical. And this is really scratching the surface. So today we announced that we raised additional $700 million with Jane Street as the lead investor and many other world-class institutional investors following it. And I can tell you that our valuation compared to 6 months ago is significantly higher, many X's higher than what our valuation was just 6 months ago. So that's the breaking news with X Energy.
Well, congratulations, Kam.
Thank you.
An amazing accomplishment. Maybe we could talk a little bit about the role purpose and long-term vision play in balancing profitability and societal impact, because I think that's something very top of mind for the industries in which your companies operate.
Yeah, just very quickly, Simon, you asked this question. That was X Energy. Very quickly, another company that I started in 2013 is called Intuitive Machine, today a publicly traded company. And as Omar said, this is the first private company that successfully landed on the surface, the company, multi-billion-dollar company. And we're also building all the cislunar data networks, multitude of satellites in a private-public partnership with NASA, and building series of other moon landers. And our ultimate goal is to really build a habitat on the surface of the moon with all the economies that's involved and capabilities in cislunar moon landers and also moon buggies that sort of traverse on the surface of the moon. So that's Intuitive Machine. In 2016, Axiom Space, I founded Axiom Space, co-founded Axiom Space, where we're building the first private commercial space station. By the end of the decade, the International Space Station is going to retire and deorbit. So we're building the replacement privately and commercially called Axiom Station. And like Omar said, we've taken 4 missions to International Space Station, people from different countries, 11 countries, privately to International Space Station. We're also building the next generation spacesuit. That's really our spacecrafts. They're not just suits. And in fact, we can't go to the surface of the moon unless we deliver this. We are the sole provider of the next generation spacesuit. And the other area we're working on heavily is brand new, really hot, really exciting, which is the intersection of AI and space. And this is orbital data centers for future data centers in space. And very quickly, quantum space, in 2021, we are solely focused on national security space. And we're building this satellite spacecraft that is totally extraordinary in terms of capabilities to go from one orbit to another, called space maneuverability, space mobility, and has the ability to carry 2,000 kilograms of fuel. So it's like a gas station space, if you will, but totally focused on Space Force and Air Force Research Lab and national security applications. I'm sorry, I just wanted
to... No, don't apologize. I'm just curious if there's anything else, Kam. No. It seems like you're going to the full spectrum. But maybe talk a little bit about, because I think you gave a really nice overview of sort of all the various different portfolio companies. Beyond exploration, how are you thinking about the tangible economic industrial benefits that you foresee as we think about the commercial space sector for the U.S. and then also maybe globally? Because I think this ties into what you were just saying.
Yeah, I mean, Omar said it in his introduction, and I thought it was right on, that for a long time, people think of space as exploration and people landing on the surface of the moon, something that belongs to government, but they don't think of it like economic growth and prosperity. That has completely changed dramatically, and I think by 2030, it's going to completely change where we're not talking about space like a foreign entity, but space as part of our economic growth in multiple ways. And maybe I can just elaborate a little bit. The space station we're building, Axiom station, that replaces International Station, we're going to be creating a new economy, a new ecosystem that is, I believe, going to be a multi-trillion-dollar business. And let me just give some examples. So when you go above Earth, you go 250 miles above Earth where the International Space Station resides. That's called low Earth orbit. There is lack of gravity, obviously, when you go to space. So there are things you can do in a microgravity environment that you cannot do on Earth because of the gravity. And the reason is when you do things on Earth, the gravity pulls the molecules down, and therefore there are things that you're not capable of doing or doing it better. Things like pharmaceuticals, semiconductors, bioprinting, fiber optics. I mean, you name it. These are all the new industries that are going to be created in low orbit with factories built that is all done in space. Imagine in a few years, by the way, everything I'm telling you has already been done in the International Space Station, except it hasn't been commercialized. That's what we're going to be doing. Imagine a day where somebody needs a heart, okay? And then we're able to bioprint a heart at the low Earth orbit in our space station, key to their DNA, and drop ship it to a clinic, okay? These are all the possibilities that are there, and things that's happening with AI, things that happening with quantum computing and robotics are accelerators, force multipliers that are going to increase that. Today, we're able to bioprint retinas and corneas in space that you cannot do on Earth. When you do it on Earth, you need a scaffoldings, and when the scaffolding goes away, it sort of falls apart. In space, because of lack of gravity, molecules go where they need to go. Orbital data centers is another one that I think is incredible. If you listen to Sam Altman recently, or Google, or Jeff Bezos, or Elon Musk, all dear friends, they would all tell you the future data centers is in space. And there are many reasons for that it takes a long time for me to explain, but cooling is one, and ability to have power 24/7 is another, and really having more compute power space is another reason. So I think all of this, and then also add the national security to it, Simon. There is this huge national security narrative that's increasing in terms of we need to have, in order to protect our freedom, we need to have enough strength in terms of our space defense, where no one can think about attacking any of our assets in orbit. So all of that is increasing, Golden Dome, all of these activities. So space, AI, or space technology and energy, these are and when I say technology, I mean AI, quantum computing, all this stuff, and energy as a major piece. These are, I think, the three forces that are converging, and I think will define the next century.
So you hit on this a little bit, and I think this is a natural segue to this question. How do you see the partnerships with NASA and private players like SpaceX shaping the future? Again, I think you've hit on a little bit of it, but I think the audience would be interested in understanding your perspective on how that evolution is going to take place.
I think we're in a transition period where there are a lot of new space companies like my companies, SpaceX, Blue Origin, Rocket Lab, others are coming to a play, and they're completely changing the game. Now, I believe that what is happening during this transition period, I call it private-public partnership that is happening. I'll just give you an example, the power of that. NASA awarded us a contract to go land on the surface of the moon, fixed price, $118 million. In period of 4 years, we conceived, we designed, we built, we operated, and successfully landed on surface the moon for $118 million. That's the power of innovation, the power of allowing people to go make things happen and get it done. I often say, thank you.
I know, I was supposed to be at that launch, but you kept pushing it back.
Yes. But I often said scarcity is the mother of innovation. So, these are things that we can do. I can tell you, if you sort of use the normal processes, it would have probably cost 10 times that, if not more. The same thing, again, with SpaceX and what Blue Origin's done. So this private-public partnership, I think, is really important. And I think Omar talked about this also, that if we want to define the next century, and we want the United States to lead, right? And we have a space dominance and energy dominance in space. It requires all these players to come together, and the private-public partnership of government and private industry working together and using the power of our capital and power of innovation and entrepreneurial spirit, I think is the key for our success.
Thank you, Kam. This is one that I know you and I have talked a little bit about, and I think it's very timely with the conversation happening in AI right now. How do you balance the need for speed and innovation with the ethical and regulatory framework, the evolution of the ethical and regulatory framework? I just think it's something that, again, is going to continue to evolve as this industry evolves, and we were curious as to your perspective on it.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you sort of look at the technologies that's been developed in the past, it can be used for power of good or it can be used power of bad, okay? There was, I think it was Russians that attacked one of their own satellites in orbit, and it created incredible amount of debris in space that we're still paying for it, right? That's power of bad. And, in the future, from the national security perspective, if we have some sort of a space war, I mean, that is much more catastrophic than, what's happening, let's say, between Russia and Ukraine. So I think having that, strength, a peace through strength, where we have such a space dominance where nobody think about doing that, I think it's really key. But at the same time, if we're going to beat Chinese, we need to allow the innovation take place, and it's really a balancing act, right? And that's true, I think, in terms of AI, is true in terms of space. And we need more of, I think, international regulation, because space is the next frontier, right? And there is not enough guidelines or post guardrails, if you will, yet quite in terms of how we're going to work together in all of these areas. But I think they're all being developed.
You have a lot of quotes, but one of my favorite quotes that you say and use a lot is energy is the foundation of intelligence. And I know you've referenced that. What does that mean to you in the context of AI and semiconductors, the semiconductor race that's unfolding right now? How do you think about that?
Well, when I say that, what I mean is the energy is the foundation of for human intelligence, as well as artificial intelligence. That's what I mean. What do I mean by human intelligence? What do I mean by artificial intelligence? Just on our planet, on Earth, we need enormous amount of energy. All the numbers that you hear is being underestimated.
Are they? I was going to say, are they true?
I think
you've got some insight.
I think we're really underestimating. I mean, some of these AI data centers require so much power, in addition to the power that the world needs for everything else that is growing by leaps and bounds every day. But AI data centers require enormous power. There would be AI data centers in the future that one of them might require 10 gigawatt of power. I mean, just think about that, right? And so for human intelligence, for everything that we're trying to do on Earth, on our planet, our home, we need incredible amount of power, and we need clean power. And so I believe safe nuclear is really the answer for us going forward and eventually getting into fusion in the future. right? Because that's the way we got to do it. Now, space, so X-Energy, right, is really we're a world leader in SMR technology and microreactors through the developing that. And then when you go to space, like Axiom Space, we're going to be the world leader in orbital data centers. We will have a federation of satellites in orbit by 2030 with massive compute power. And so that's really, and the future of AI data center in space, right? So energy is needed there as well. So the power for artificial intelligence, right? We need power. So the fuel that is needed is really the power, both for human and for artificial.
Thank you, Kam. All right, 2 last questions, and I want to go to the future now. So give us the big picture. I know you alluded to this a little bit, where the space economy is heading in the next 5 to 10 years, but what do you think's in the realm of possibilities, 2030 and beyond? I know you've always been a dreamer. You've always had big ideas, obviously, and clearly you've executed those ideas. But give us a sense of where you see this going.
Let me just sort of zoom out for the audience a little bit. And
I like when you zoom out.
Let's go 2050, 25 years from now, okay? When we were at our launch site to the moon first time in 2024, I make this prediction, and I want to share that with all of you. I said by 2050, we are going to have hourly launches to a space city above Earth, not a space station, where people living and working and space manufacturing is there. And there may be 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people that work in low Earth orbit, and hourly launches that goes from Earth to that space city, okay? By 2050...
Are you sure that's not the Jetsons?
Well, it would be something like that, right? By 2050, I think we will have daily launches to the surface of the moon, where people will be living and working. And I also believe that really the answer for that is also still space nuclear. There are 3 types of space nuclear: nuclear fission surface power, where you can have safe nuclears on the surface of the moon for everything that you need to create a habitat, to be able to extract water from the moon's surface, to create hydrogen for fuel, all of those sort of things. So hourly launches, habitat surface to moon, and maybe weekly launches to surface of Mars, where people will be also living and working, and we become truly a multiplanetary species. I know when I say this thing, it looks far-fetched, but if you go back 25 years back and look to where we are today, I bet you if you go back in time, some of the things that's happening today in AI, even with our iPhone, is sort of far-fetched. So it's really hard to sort of predict everything that's happening, but things are accelerating. And I happen to believe we live in a golden age of space exploration and golden age of, human exploration, not only in terms of space, but ourselves, and be able to create innovation and technologies that really advances the state of humanity and human knowledge. And my dream is that we will have quarterly launches by 2050 to our closest star, in our galaxy, our neighbor, called Proxima Centauri, which is 4.25 light years away from us. And just to give you a sense, if you leave our solar system behind, imagine all of you are in this spaceship, and we're together in this room, and we lift off from Earth, and we go 250 miles above Earth, and we're at a space station. We go to the moon, we go to Mars, we go beyond, and we leave our solar system behind, and now we're in the galaxy. The distance from one point of our galaxy to another is 100,000 light years. So if you go with the speed of light, one way, 100,000 years. The speed of light is really, really fast. And if we leave our galaxy, and by the way, in our galaxy alone, there are approximately 400 billion stars, just like our own star, the sun, with planets around them. 400 billion stars. Now, if we leave our galaxy behind, we are in our universe, and based on Hubble Space Telescope and James Webb Space Telescope, we believe there are approximately somewhere between 1 to 2 trillion other galaxies in the universe, and each one with billions and billions of stars in it. So I just want to share this with you, which is really mind-boggling. They asked Carl Sagan, how vast is our universe? And he said, if you just pick up some grains of sands in the palm of your hand, okay, and look at them. Of course, there are maybe thousands, tens of thousands of grains of sands if you just pick it in your palm of your hand. And you said, if you look at all the grains of sands in all the oceans, in all the deserts, in all the beaches on our planet, our solar system is one grain of sand. That's the future of space. And I don't think that God's created it for us not to explore. My belief, my dream is that we become interstellar species and be able to go to other stars. That requires the next level of technology, the next level of energy to be able to make all that happen.
Well, there's no way I can follow with another question after that. But a big thank you, Kam.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.